to Game On. I'm Estering, and I am the head of PR and communications and strategic partnerships at DeFi and NFT Summit. And we do PR marketing and also events in DeFi and NFT. I'm so excited today for this panel. We've got some really amazing speakers, and we'll be talking about traditional gaming versus blockchain gaming. What's the difference? And how does NFTs, what do NFTs have to do with it? So today, joining me now, please welcome, we have Jehan from Kenetic. And then we also have Yavin from Cointelligence, Peter Perez from Gamerjibe, and Stéphane Panyasiri from NFT1. So I'll let them go ahead and introduce themselves. So Jehan, would you like to start?
Thanks again for having me. Jehan Chu, I'm the founder of Kenetic, managing partner as well. Kenetic is one of the earliest and most active blockchain investment platforms, blockchain and crypto investment investors in Asia. We started up around 2016. Before that, I've been in this space since getting into Bitcoin around late 2013 and helped to start the Bitcoin Association and started the Ethereum meetup. I've been, I think we've invested in something like 200, more than 200 companies in the blockchain and crypto space. We actually did the first NFT global conference back in 2018 called Nifty. And since then have invested in, I think, maybe 13 or 14 different NFT projects. So excited to be here.
Great. On?
Hi, thank you for having me today. I'm the founder and CEO of Cointelligence and also the managing partner of Cointelligence.fund. I joined the industry about 4 years ago when I founded Cointelligence. We started as a research company. Until today, we analyzed more than 1,000 different blockchain and crypto companies. And early 2019, we established Cointelligence Academy to provide online and offline education for blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And early 2021, this year, we established Cointelligence.fund. It is based on the success that we've had, me and my team members at Cointelligence, everything with the investments and trading that we've done. And recently, we decided to focus our investments on the play-to-earn concept. Thank you for having me again.
That's great. And Peter?
Yes, thank Esther. Appreciate this. I'm the VP of Business Development with Gamerjibe, and we are a metaverse company that gives anyone the ability to create immersive online events in a virtual world for small community meetups, for persistent experiences, all the way up to large, full-blown convention-size events, all happening online over a web app or desktop app as well. And so we've had the pleasure of being creating an impact during a time when a lot of events are losing their revenue from having to do the cancellations because of the state of the world that we're in due to the pandemic. So we came online and entered into the market at a very unique time just before COVID hit. So for the past 18 months, we've been a solution, a go-to solution for a lot of NFT gaming, blockchain, and traditional events and festivals from all over the world.
Wonderful. And finally, Stéphane?
Hi, so I'm Stéphane Panyasiri. I'm the CEO and founder of NFT1. I've been in the gaming industry for about almost 20 years. So I've been through like the whole cycle of online game, mobile game, social game. I've seen in like really the motion of like things moving. And I recently founded NFT1 because we definitely think that with my partners that we are now in a time where NFTs and blockchain can really bring something new to the gaming industry. And then also that like right now adoption, it might be ready for it. So we're super excited to explore it and bring new ways and new approach to gaming.
Okay. I thought we'll start off with something easy first. Like, why do you all like gaming and how did you get involved in the gaming industry? Peter, do you want to start?
Sure. I would love to begin. Yeah. So my lifeblood is really gaming. As a young child, I grew up in the analog world and then experiencing the first gaming consoles and being able to use that as a way to, deal with, like maybe childhood issues, or, because I grew up in a single parent household. And so gaming was really a way for me to not wander too far away from the home, being an unsupervised child, and then growing into an adult. And after my military service in the US in the Army, started to host my own events in 2013 for Dota 2 communities in North America, for watch parties and tournaments as an amateur circuit. Within my first year, I had teams from all over North America coming on board, and noticing that there was a huge demand for players to compete in these circuits, but there wasn't very many places for them to play. So 2 years into creating those events is really myself and just a friend of mine helping me produce everything from the front to the back end for those events. DreamHack made its a groundbreaking inaugural event in North America. They became a client of mine based on my experience in running these kinds of events. And for the next 2 years, after starting to host my own events, I'm helping fill convention centers for a few years within North America, in Colorado, in Atlanta, in the Austin area. You are in a position where you have to hyper download how these events come together. And so having a full understanding from the grassroots level to the larger, convention sized events, you really understand that, there's a lot of moving parts. The gaming world isn't, it's not a world that is very static. It doesn't stay the same for very long. It's constantly changing, and it's rapidly moving into like new areas. And I think this is very timely because, we get to uncover some of those, new journeys and new opportunities are being created through blockchain and NFTs.
Cool. What do you see? You do Coin Intelligence. Share some insight with us.
So before Cointelligence, personally, I'm an ex-gamer. I spent probably thousands or tens of thousands of hours playing games, starting from games that were developed for the Atari console, like dozens of years ago, decades ago, up to Commodore XT, and up to modern games like World of Warcraft. I think that for me, gaming is first, it's a great way to take a break from everything from the day-to-day stressful lives that we are in. It allows you to experience and do things that you can't do in real life. And I think that's something that is very interesting and makes people really want to play games. And of course, it has no outdoor limitations, and it's a great way to spend your time when you have bad weather outside and so on. And most importantly, I have been always saying it for many, many years, that I think playing games is improving different skills that we can have by playing games, more playing games. And obviously, if you play competitive games, then it can be really, really exciting. And I am a competitive person. So if you play PvP mode, for example, it can get really, really hectic. Of course, the most important part, it's fun most of the time. With regards to the business aspect, I mentioned it before. We decided at Cointelligence.fund that we're going to focus on the play to earn concept and blockchain based gaming, because I truly believe that it is the future. And I truly think that it's just a beginning. We don't even understand yet what's coming and what we're going to see. And it gets me very excited to see things happening and growing and progressing on a daily basis.
Yeah, excellent. Jehan, how about you?
Yeah, I think for my gaming started back in the very, very early days. I assume I'm a bit older than everybody else, where we used to have these little handheld Nintendo single screen, these liquid crystal displays with the little kind of rubber buttons on either side. And so I remember distinctly playing Donkey Kong, which was a flip screen. It was very advanced. And that was kind of my introduction to gaming. I can't even remember how old I was at that time. And then, of course, I took the normal route, from Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and all the different kind of consoles along the way. And I got really into mudding, if anybody knows what that word is, back in during college. So I wasted a lot of hours there. And while I didn't really kind of continue playing so much after that, I think that getting into the crypto space and that evolution has really made me start to think about the kind of convergence of casual gaming and kind of more conceptual gaming, and then also how kind of crypto economics start to kind of gamify finance and other actions, which, you know, obviously really leads into kind of play to earn. And I think even play to earn is probably not even the final form. I think that we're going to find many different types of layered experiences that are basically different forms of incentivization. I think I saw something recently which was around a modification of play to earn, which was kind of AI training, where people perform puzzles and actions and they get paid for that, which is similar to one of our portfolio companies, Human Protocol, where you actually get paid tokens to solve some of these simple AI puzzles. So it all seems to be converging in the same way. You know, life is starting to imitate art and vice versa. So it's kind of an exciting thing to see, and just happy to be able to, you know, invest in companies like Forte and Rally that are, you know, kind of looking at different aspects of both helping traditional public game publishers add crypto economics and digital asset loops to their platforms, as well as social tokens, which I think will be the next NFTs and will really kind of supercharge the whole kind of gaming environment and digital asset environment.
Okay. And Stéphane, how about you? Maybe you can share a little bit about, you know, mobile as well, mobile gaming.
Yeah, well, I've been a gamer since Pong. So like these two bars on Atari, so I'm old too. So yeah, I've been like playing those games for a long time. And also, we were like less console based. I was like more on the online and PC games for a while. So when I started like really getting deeper into gaming, it was the very beginning of free to play. So I saw the free to play model changing the whole ecosystem, but the whole environment online. So I really think that like gaming itself is really a way to innovate, and gaming has innovated both on the technology, the use of internet, like the speed, but also in business model. Like the free to play is the base of a lot of the model right now, both like on mobile, on PC, and yeah. So same like on the mobile side, we started with Java game, which is like this serpent, like the snake. And now look at the games that you have. And it took a long time for me as a real gamer to like the games on mobile, like really long time. But now I feel like I have like a grasp of what can be done on mobile. And I think on like an NFT is the same way. I really think like NFT could change the gaming industry the way that like free to play changed the gaming industry. We only scratch the surface right now. But it's just about the usage, but also it's about the way that we present it to the users. And it's all about enhancing the user experience as opposed to only being the creative economy as it proposed. Like the value proposition of NFT so far has been really on the creative side. But I really think that if we include the users, and the gaming is the best way to do it, we can create a social link using the NFTs. And I agree, we'll just at the very beginning.
Okay. I mean, I've always had this question. So can someone explain exactly what is the difference between the traditional gaming and blockchain gaming? I think probably our audience would like to, you know, find out like what's the difference.
Yeah, I'll jump in there on that one. I think it comes down to ownership and having the ability to invest your time and energy into something that will inherently hold value over time and perhaps even increase value over time. Gaming has generally been something where you pay a publisher to give you access to a game, which economists would argue that buying a video game has more value than, you know, than the price, the $60 price tag in order to pay for that new release. Because of the number of hours that you get out of a video game, you know, you're buying something that could give somebody hundreds of thousands of hours of entertainment. However, at the end of that time, you can't cash in on all the time and energy that you put into those games. So traditional gaming will historically be focused on, right, those stories, those interactions that don't inherently provide you of anything tangible or intangible that, you know, can possess and hold value or create a value of storage. And then moving into the NFT world where, you know, you are every minute and every click and every time that you spend either competing with another player or collecting assets from that game, collectible card games, NFT skin markets, even some of the novelty skins that have an association with some of those NFT games, they are showing to have, value over time. I mean, it's debatable on which ones will ultimately win in the end, but it's really going to focus more in on the utility and where does that exist later down the line for the novelty NFTs versus, those utility-based NFTs that are very tied into someone's experience when they participated in the games.
Okay, so I mean, you're telling me that now we're able to get something out of playing and spending my time playing the game, and before I couldn't. I mean, like if I obtain skins or some sort of weapon in a traditional game. So what's the difference with now, like in a blockchain game? Because they were able to do that before too. Is it sorry?
I'll jump in and I'll extend on what Peter said, and I agree with everything that he said. A few things. First of all, it's important to say that the play to earn concept is not new. It's been around for many, many years. And the huge difference is that up until today, the players that were selling the different in-game items, or in some cases, they were actually offering different services in-game for payment, they sold the items in an illegal way because they don't own the items. The company that owns the game owns all the items. And it's been going on around, and there's many, many different famous stories about farming gold in the different games, selling them in an illegal way, and whole black or gray markets, whatever you want to call it, for in-game goods. That's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing is that because the NFTs are enabling the players to own the assets, which means that if you get a sword, a very, very powerful sword in game, like Peter said, if you stopped playing, obviously you got a lot from playing the game and you paid to enjoy it, very similar to, let's say, if you go to the cinema and you pay for watching a movie. So in that sense, of course, you got what you paid for. But what Peter was referring to, I think so, is that when you finish playing the game, if you spent hours over hours, sometimes players are spending years playing one game, getting so many achievements, getting so many different items. And when they stop playing, that's it. They can forget about everything and they just need to move on. With NFTs, they can actually sell the items that they got over time. That's the first part, the way that I see it. The second part, which has become super powerful recently, especially in the last year or the last few months, and it's being talked so much in the crypto industry, is about the fact that you can actually make a living from playing a game. And that's unbelievable to me. And I actually have been saying for a few years now that we should be rewarded for almost everything that we do in life. If it's watching commercials, if it's buying specific shoes brand and walking with the shoes on a daily basis, we should be rewarded for everything that we're doing. And I think that's the future. And specifically with play to earn in the way that it is now, you can actually be rewarded and you can actually make it a living. Obviously, I have some more things to say, but I'll let the other speakers talk.
Yeah, I think what everyone's saying kind of resonates, and I agree with it. I think I might extend it in a slightly different direction. I think that beyond the value of NFTs and the kind of financial side of it, what the difference between blockchain gaming and kind of past gaming is that the surface of blockchain and the ability to have all of these applications, gaming applications, live on the blockchain creates a more interoperable surface for the communities. And ultimately, these games have value because of their communities. And what crypto does, not just NFTs, but cryptocurrencies and social tokens, is they provide a way to monetize and to quantify and in some cases monetize the value of these communities and their actions. That's what play to earn actually is. And I think that, with blockchain, in addition to being able to actually own, and have, sovereign ownership over these assets, it also allows you to mix communities. And it also allows you to kind of help delineate these communities with the actual token. Like the token is the signal, whether it's an NFT, whether it's a punk, whether it's a skin, whether it's a crypto or a social token. These are sigils and symbols that, these communities wield. And some of them are kind of more fluid, like the crypto. Some of them are more, illiquid, like an NFT, which is less liquid than your average crypto. But the blockchain allows us to have this kind of common surface, which creates interoperability not only between the value between players, but also even between different communities. And so games can actually start to mix and match, whereas before they were islands. And there was no boat, there was no airplane to try and transport value. And so now we have these kind of, teleportation devices, which allow us to kind of mix. And I think that's going to really, focusing on the community side and what crypto enables is a pretty interesting way of looking at it, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, I would add that so for years, the link between blockchain, crypto, and gaming has been trying to be there for years. I mean, I've heard about blockchain trying to get into gaming for 5 years now. NFTs here for 4 years. But right now, I think we're in a very special time where adoption is here, that the gaming industry understand a little bit more of the blockchain, and they understand that blockchain is not only crypto, it's not only Bitcoin, it's not only Ethereum, but there's real usage for it. And that's the main, that's the main game changer. But not only on the gaming side, like a professional, but also the user, the play to earn, creating a new model where people, as a gamer, feel more enticed and more involved in the game, in the community. So I'm really agree that the community side of a blockchain, crypto, will have a real impact into the games, where you will create new models, and not only in a way that so if you say non-fungible or unique, I will go even further. I would think the NFTs will create a unique link between the gaming industry, the game publishers and developers, up to the level of the user itself. So what we're trying to do right now at NFT1 is really trying to find a way to communicate one by one, one-on-one, and create that link, but also create a whole, institutionalize the whole thing. So right now, the way I play would be rewarded in a different way, and my NFT might at the base be the same, but the way that I interact with the games might change it, might evolve it. And I think right now we're looking at the next level would be intelligent NFTs, evolving NFTs, and getting even more non-fungible, really unique in itself, because it would belong to me, Stéphane. It's not I play Axie and it's an NFT from Axie. It's a NFT that is mine. They represent me, how I play, how I interact with other people, and now I want to share it with other people. Can I trade it? Yeah, of course. Do I want to sell it? Yeah, I can, but it's mine. So now I can represent myself within a game, within a community, and I can share it. I can show it. And that, if I can communicate right, I think that's a game changer for everyone. And we will create a new model. And I know that we're just at the beginning.
That's really exciting. I mean, does anybody else see any trends or models that are emerging right now that they can share?
Yes, it was mentioned that it has a lot to do with the community, and I completely agree. And the thing that I am very excited about is the fact that some of the games or some of the new concepts that we are seeing rising now is based on DAOs. And if anyone that is listening or watching us doesn't know, DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. And the biggest thing, in my opinion, here is that everyone in the ecosystem are actually taking a part. It's not just the players, it's the developers. Stéphane mentioned about the NFT creation. So it's the artists that are creating different NFTs. And basically everyone involved in the ecosystem are taking part in it and can actually influence it. Because as a player in the traditional games, I can't do anything to influence the company that owns the game. I mean, obviously there's been cases where many players started shouting and complaining about something, so the company changed that, but it's a very, very small part of everything overall. And that gets me very excited as well.
Okay. I mean, does that have anything to do with like yield guild games or game guilds? Is that sort of part of the future as well?
Yes, YGG is actually leading the way at the moment, and they're doing a very good job, if I may say so. And I think that we're going to see many others do something similar to YGG.
Okay, so as in it has the community aspect and also the DAO part of it, and then so everybody joins together to play one game, right? Because I know, like for example, with Axie Infinity, I mean, does anybody know more about their scholarships or like how that works?
Actually, we started the scholarship program ourselves, and that's amazing. For me, following what I said before, when people are decided to make a living from playing games. So we actually started already working with one lady who's that she decided to make that her life living, and she wants to play the game every day and profit from it. And so far, it's going pretty well, and we're probably going to extend it very soon to many other players.
Okay.
And to answer your question, yes, YGG are doing different things around the play to earn concept, and it's also organizing, obviously sponsoring players, organizing tournaments, helping the ecosystem in different ways. So and I think it's just the beginning, and I think that they and others are going to add more as we go.
Okay. Jehan, do you see anything else that's been happening and exciting on the gaming front?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's happening is that the mainstreaming and normalization of kind of blockchain assets or digital assets, it's moving away from more just the kind of blockchain specific games and more into the mainstream brands, kind of global leading brands. I can't say the name of the company, but one of the world's largest toy brand is one that did about $6 billion of sales in 2020 and $9 billion of sales. Will do $9 billion this year. So they're working with a company called Ioconic, which we're investors in, which is helping to enable them to do both digital trading cards and NFTs. And this will, they have toys in Walmart. You'll see them being distributed globally at mass scale. And that will kind of bring a different level of awareness to NFTs and digital assets in a game format, where it's not actually a blockchain-based game, but one that includes digital assets. And it's actually a simple trading card game. So I think increasingly you're going to see what we've seen in the whole DeFi, hi-fi arena. So instead of DeFi, we believe in like hi-fi, hybrid finance. I think we're going to see the same thing in the gaming arena, where instead of having pure blockchain-based games, you're going to start to see digital assets and aspects of decentralization show up in centralized games in specific and kind of limited manners. And you'll see these hybrid approaches, which will introduce tokenization and NFTs, et cetera, to mainstream audiences, but really in a mass scale. So I think that's one of the most maybe under-recognized but interesting trends that we're seeing, because I think these audiences that are going to be trained on hybrid platforms will then be more open and familiar with some of the concepts that are being pioneered in the pure blockchain, pure, kind of crypto world.
Mm.
Yeah, I totally agree. I definitely see the trend because being part of the industry and the traditional industry, like gaming industry, I'm talking to a lot of AAA studios and traditional gaming, and we are discussing with them to see how we can bring NFTs, blockchain component to a traditional game, so non-native NFT or blockchain games. And it's actually coming. There are ways that we're like looking at right now, either to take like an old game and revive it, it's still like having like a base of huge, like a good base of users, but not like growing or just like stagnating. And I think we can revive those games and then trying to find a new way for the players to adopt the game or play in different ways, but always thinking that you shouldn't unbalance your game. So there's a fine way, like a fine limit between bringing something new and totally unbalancing your game and making that fun. So we're in gaming, so we just need to think about the gamers. It has to be fun. It has to be cool, and I still have to like it. So yeah, I totally agree that like right now, games has like even like non-native gaming, like NFT games or like traditional games, will all converge at some point, and then we'll see a massive adoption through this concept.
Yeah,
I mean,
I can add a little more
sure.
to that, Esther. At least from the event side, similar to any of the platforms where you're encouraging people to participate and get together online. The gamification is making its way in there as well. You go to an in-person event, there may be a quest that you do, a scavenger hunt that you do in person. You may play in some activities and able to win some prizes that you might have to buy into even after you purchase a ticket. But in the virtual world, it gets to shift, right? You get to be rewarded for inviting your friends, for spending time and traveling around and exploring. And there's a term for that. It was originally coined by ETH Denver, if you're familiar with them. Fantastic group, hosted event on the Gamerjibe platform. They had 31,000 attendees over an 8-day long online festival. So they had to cancel their event and park their virtual castle on Gamerjibe. And the term that they shared was POAP, or Proof of Attendance Protocol, where participation in these events allow you to be rewarded. Perhaps maybe you're tipping other users, with your digital wallet. You meet somebody that you like, you want to throw them a little crypto, you can do that simply through their profile. Or, you collect an NFT badge for your participation in the event, and you're finding QR codes in certain areas where you can earn airdrops simply for your participation. And what I'm seeing, at least on the event side, the trends are, online, we have the ability to move that marketing funnel that used to be that window 3 to 4 days before an event goes live, where the army of people decide to get their tickets at the last minute because, event goers tend to procrastinate, and I'm a gamer, I can relate to it. Now we have these incentives to get attendees in early to participate in these events, and blockchain and crypto are a great way to incentivize that. And so this is an unfolding world. There's a lot of new layers that are being added to it, but at least from an event platform perspective, we think it's critical for us to master the quality human connection component to it, because if you look at other places on the web where the marketplace exists, it's very passive, it's very two-dimensional. There might be a place or a forum where you can post comments, but there's very little in what feels like in-person interaction. So it's kind of brilliant to see the metaverse, NFT gaming, traditional gaming, all coming and coalescing together, right? As this kind of merging of worlds takes place. I feel like this is a very important time where we can adopt best practices from each of them and use that as an incentive to, do things a little bit different than we did previously, right? And be that force for good that I think gaming ultimately should be and will be.
Oh, that's great. So with all this happening right now, how do you see, like, where do you think that will happen first, this merge? Because now it's still a bit, this one's the meta universe, that one's like, play to earn. How do you see it happening? Will it just be one game that has everything, or is it going to be in a metaverse that you can bring all your NFTs in and then somehow they have a game in there? Or just wondering, what do you see?
Yeah, I think that the metaverse aspect is quite important, because I think that it's the experiential layer of what I was talking about before. That it's kind of the experiential layer of the blockchain in a way. It gives context for what's happening in the background, and I think that games will eventually be located. I think that they will have addresses in the metaverse. And in the same way that you go to like a carnival and you go to a certain place to get that carnival ride, you will actually start to have a digital presence, which will have a life of its own. It'll be almost like a gathering place where you then enter the game. And so games, which typically have, you just kind of fire it up and you're in, will start to have a doorway or a portal. And we'll have context, because ultimately, again, it's just about these communities. And I think these communities will tend to kind of gather and have different types of experiences around the game. So I think that metaverse will add a really interesting layer to it. One of the things that I never really was deeply into a gamer like many of my, kind of peers here on stage. But I learned from Tom Bollinger, who was one of the kind of early team members of Zynga, that like games are fun, but meta games are even more fun. And I think that what the metaverse provides is that, meta game layer for a lot of these games in a way which is, relatable and, it's it will become a familiar surface. So I think then the metaverse will become more and more important for gaming.
Or also, if you talk about games, sorry, you want to go ahead?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying, like, games, it's not like one world. It's just like you have so many type of games and you have so many type of gamers, from casual, hyper casual, like mid-core, hardcore. You have different layers of gamers, and I think you're gonna have different layers of like interaction with the players. It's just like depending on the type of game, you're gonna have like different access. And yes, the metaverse will be a good destination where you can like ignite and start the games. But at the end of the day, like it will also be depending on what you want to play and how much involvement you want to have it.
So I completely agree with what both of you said, and it's very weird because usually I don't agree that much, but I have to say that with regards to the metaverse, it gets me so excited because I remember the time when MMO games were starting to be released, the multiplayer games and online, of course, and it was such a game changer compared to the old games that were not yet connected online. And it gets me so excited to see the metaverse being progressed now. And to answer your original question, yes, it's already happening. You see, for just as an example, two of the biggest operations right now in the blockchain gaming world, which are Decentraland, which is not a gaming focused until now, and Sandbox started collaborating, and you can actually enjoy both of the worlds together. And I expect many different games to collaborate and to enjoy the exactly what Jehan mentioned before about the probability of blockchain. You can actually get connected through the different metaverses, which is amazing to me. And one more thing, actually two more things that I wanted to add. One, it's so refreshing that we finally have real utility tokens. Up until now, so many projects were talking about the fact that they are utility, and we see them getting indicted by the SEC one after the other because they are securities and not utilities. And the last thing is that it's already happening right now that metaverses are being built not just to play games. There is one project that is actually building the next world-based metaverse for offices. So entrepreneurs can build their offices in the metaverse. And obviously, it's very logic to do it now, especially following the COVID-19 crisis and so on and so on. So I think that we haven't seen nothing yet.
We're just starting.
Also, I might even add that like we might have found the missing link for cross-platform. We hear about like going from like console, PC, mobile, but actually metaverse and blockchain games might actually be the way to do the real cross-platform, and just like having your platform just a door of entry, and then just like enjoying your game wherever you're coming from.
Okay, I mean, we're getting towards the end of our panel. Our time, and to wrap things up, I'm just wondering, is there anything else you guys would like to share, or why don't we also recommend some games that everybody should try and play? Peter, do you want to go first?
Yes, I do. Oh yeah. All right. So the list, I'm just gonna share three, because they're very much taking advantage of the metaverse solution that we're offering, and it just makes sense. The community gathers. It's a great opportunity to have interoperability between the different NFT kind of offerings and assets that they provide. One that I'll just give a shout out to is Splinterlands. If you are into collectible card games, they are very much, breaking so much ground right now. They are very much going to the moon over the past couple of weeks and the number of users. They've hit some incredible milestones of well over 10,000 daily active users in the past couple of days. And then that's not even including the additional, new users that are being added to their platform. I think they're now over, several, close to 100 million in transactions that are taking place in their marketplace. And again, don't quote me on this. Again, I'm trying to capture from some of the updates that I've been given. But Splinterlands is kind of one of those that they're an OG to the NFT world, and they've been doing this for such a long time. But it isn't just until this past month, these past 4 to 6 weeks, where things have just exploded for them, and it's very exciting to see how they're going to continue to evolve the different layers that will exist in, the SPS tokens that they're now offering, which will work specifically with, governance and ownership and staking within their particular offering. The other one that I will share is Polygon, and, the folks with Polycon and Polydoge. They are doing some incredible things on the event side, just helping to galvanize the community. Their goal really is to just help be a gateway for anyone who wants to understand, how the NFT and blockchain world is going to evolve. And then also Gala Games, which, they're a sponsor for this event. They're also using our platform to help galvanize their community and point them to their different NFT games. I know they've got Mirandus that's coming up, later on, likely next year. Then they just released their Vox avatars for their Vox world that they'll be, opening up to the public here shortly. And it's just incredible to see the acceleration into these types of, different metaverses that exist and have different ways that people use it. And then the way, that all of them become interoperable. And I think, everybody here on the panel mentioned so many brilliant aspects to it. So, well done.
Any other recommendations?
Yeah, for me, I would definitely mention a new game that we invested in recently at Cointelligence.fund, and it's called Snook. And I'm not sure, but I think Stéphane mentioned the worm game, the old worm game. So they did something similar, but they actually made it an MMO. And obviously based on blockchain, which is really, really exciting. And I think that the thing that I like most about this specific project is that it will be very easy for many players to start playing with it, because the basics is simple. And I'm really looking forward to see the mass adoption that we'll get through that game, and many and potentially get many new users to our industry, to blockchain and the cryptocurrencies in general.
Okay.
One quick one, I think I'll throw in addition to shout out to Gala Games, who's building on the Flare network, which we invested in. I think Star Atlas is pretty interesting, and I'm very excited to see how they're going to be launching. Obviously, it's one of the kind of biggest and brightest, but I think their ambition is pretty breathtaking.
Stéphane, do you have any?
I'm still a big fan of Sandbox, just because for what they brought to the market and being like the OGs. So shout out to Sebastian and the team.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'll make one quick correction on what I shared. So the 50,000 active users for Splinterlands. Aggroed, if he heard me say 10,000, he's gonna come. He's gonna send me some hate mail. So I want to make sure I make that correction. They're doing some incredible things. So anyway, yeah.
That's great. Thank you everyone for your time today and your insight. And I hope the audience will enjoy the rest of Game On.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Esther.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.